This evening, we have Furqan Qamar, former advisor, Education Planning Commission of India, joining us. Also with us is Dr. Jayalal, former National President, IMA. Good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on Mirror Now this evening. Dr. Jayalal, let me begin the discussion with you because many doctors were demanding that the exams that are supposed to begin, the Neet-PG exams, should be postponed by at least 6 to 8 weeks. Now that the Supreme Court has intervened and said that postponement will create chaos and uncertainty, so what happens with these particular students? Are we still likely to see these students approaching the center for some sort of relief?
No, we definitely appreciate the legitimate demand of the students at this time of situation where there is a counseling has not over and the situation is in a very fluid level. So demanding for the postponement is exactly right. But this has happened for the last 2 years. The exams of 2021, which is supposed to be held in January, postponed once by the then minister to the March, then again postponed to the September. And they were not doing the counseling appropriately. That is resulting in till May, which is supposed to be over by 2021 March. In 2022 May, we are not able to complete this exam. So that is definitely shows the administrative lacunae and the willingness on the people to take up the responsibility and do the things in appropriate time. NMC is sitting at the head of the institution and they are responsible for organizing the educational curriculum of the students. But unfortunately, they are not coming out and opening anything from their mouth. That is resulting in the students has to suffer a lot. And for even just for the sake of the examination, they need to go to the Supreme Court. The situation is here. I am very sorry to say that the government has not taken this matter in a serious sense. They are not interviewed adequately. Now the students have even no hope for them. At this situation, we cannot now expect anything to happen, but for the students to work hard and prepare for the exam and face the exam and come what it may, they have to appear for the examination only.
Okay. Mr. Furqan Qamar, now it's not the first time, as I was mentioning earlier as well, that we have seen these medical students, NEET aspirants coming out on the streets and protesting. It happened last year as well because the counseling process did not begin on time, and now it was for exams. There are some students who say exams should happen on time. Others say that, they need time to prepare. There's very little gap that they have got between counseling and the exam, and hence it's difficult for them. How legitimate are the demands, and why do we always see this kind of an issue when it comes to NEET in the country?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. First of all, on this immediate issue of this year's Neet-PG 22, I think the students have approached the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has gone into the merits. They have spoken, they have given their decisions. So I think we now cannot discuss the merits and the demerits of the demands for this thing. I think they have no option, as Jaylal ji said, to prepare and appear for examination. Last 2 years have been an exception because of the pandemic, because of the other kind of pressing urgencies. Things have not been happening as per schedule. But I think in your intro, you gave a long history of delays, confusions, controversies about the NEET examinations. And there are many issues relating to them. First of all, I think we need to make our processes very, very transparent. We need to have the schedules well displayed, and we need to work on this very carefully. I think even for that, the Supreme Court had to set some kind of admission schedule, although that admission schedule could not be followed last year. The biggest reason is that there are so many aspirants at the undergraduate as well as at the postgraduate level, and there are so few seats in the public institution which are somewhat more affordable, and also in the private institution, the seats are not very many. So like you saw that at the undergraduate level, out of about 16 lakh plus students appearing in the exams, there are only about 1 lakh seats. 93,000 or so. Going by that 50% of the qualifying marks, almost 8 lakh students qualify, but they are unable to get admissions because the seats are limited. So given that kind of huge gap between the demand and the supply in the quality and the affordable institution, every student wants to maximize his or her chances of getting selected and scoring better, and therefore all those coaching issues, etc., come. So this is one issue. Second issue, that ever since the NEET was made mandatory as one single national level eligibility test for admissions to undergraduate, that in fact changed the status quo. That changed the equilibrium. And there were
Right.
states who were saying that, okay, earlier we were admitting students on the basis of the merit of our board examinations. And I think that was much more easy and the convenient way. And they had other linguistic related issues raised. So all of these things put together have made things very, very complicated. And we have to find a systemic solution to this issue. I think the NBA and other people must also think of that, rather than having only one examination in a year, with all those technologies at our hands, they could conduct many examinations, several examinations. Even if they are not able to go for on-demand examination, at least 2 examinations in a year, so that a student could take the examination at their convenience and they could appear in those examinations. And then their score could be used for admission whenever the admission session starts. So shortages, very, very limited number of seats, very strong competition, neck-to-neck competition, cutthroat competition rather. And those things are causing these kinds of problems. Of course, I'm excluding the past 2 years.
Interesting points you have raised.
Yes,
very important points you've raised, Mr. Furqan Qamar. One, of course, we know there is a major demand-supply mismatch issue that exists, and this entire system needs some sort of an overhaul. This is what we can say, given how the situation is right now. Dr. Jaylal, now there are many administrative issues as well, and the points that have been raised by students who've been preparing really hard are also very, very important. Can you tell us a little bit more about the students who wanted the exams to be postponed? Are these the ones who want to, in a way, rewrite these exams, who appeared last year as well and this year want to try again?
Yes, there is a plenty of people who have appeared in the last exam, also trying for this year. Please understand, it is not like a Neet-UG where you are going to get an MBBS or not. Here it is a Neet-PG, is variety of specialty, broad specialty itself. We have around 19 to 20 specialties there. Also the college which you are going to get, whether you are going to get in the government institution or you are going to get in a private and the high rank institution. So there is a plenty of opportunity, plenty of challenges in front of the students. So every student will try to upgrade, even if he get a good score. If he's gone get a medical seat in the top level institution, he will still try for the next year. If you see the people who are coming to the medical college today for the post-graduation, third time, fourth time, attempting for the Neet-PG. So it is this ongoing process. So if there is some schedule and systematic way of conducting is not happening, it will dampen the spirit of studying for that and preparing for that, and that will definitely deject them from preparing with a high spirit. And every time government is trying to do the knee-jerk reaction. There is no one man or one group which is controlling it. Now they have fought for the exam, it will happen, but we are not sure whether the counseling will take place in adequate time. Because last time, when the September exams were conducted, the counseling started after 4 months for no reason for which the unnecessary delay was there. So these things need to settle out, because it is a life and death for the doctor to get into a adequate postgraduate course. And for that, if the government is insensitive to that need, maybe there is a lot of hamburg may be there, whether it is a court case, whether it's a decision in the administrative level, but an independent high-tech body, just like an election commission, should be set forth, which will be independent of all the pressure, and they will have the power to study into that all the issue and go ahead in a mandate, predetermined, well-calculated, pre-announced exam schedule. And ifs and buts if they are going to put in.
But
That
Dr.
will
Jaylal, then the question is that why is this not happening? Because what you're talking about, these are very, small things that can easily be done to streamline the entire process. I mean, I don't think it's going to be very difficult if there is a calendar in place for the entire year. Of course, last 2 years were very different because we were going through a pandemic, but this time the situation is much different. So why is it not there? Why do we have then so many problems when it only comes to NEET? And why is it that we always see, like you yourself mentioned, a knee-jerk reaction when it comes to NEET? Is there no intention?
it is probably, I think it is being intentionally done because it is a dogmatic body. We have a National Medical Commission, which is so far it was a representative body. All the vice chancellor of the universities had the representation. Each state had a representation. Meetings were held. They were able to express their feelings and demand. A consultative process was there. Then they were able to decide on the pros and cons and deciding the factor. But unfortunately, now they are living in an ivory tower in the AC room. No communication with what is happening in the ground reality, and it is on the room they are taking a decision and then going ahead. That is a big problem is happening. If it is becoming a democratic consultative process is being done and autonomic and without the clutches of any central government, if there is an autonomic power is given to that body, definitely this problem can be solved and it can be go ahead in a very systematic way. We have a learned people, we know the objectives, we know what we want, and if it is not able to be done, it is only the system failure, it is not the intention or the content failure, I can say.
Okay. Mr. Furqan Qamar, I want to give you the last word. What can be done? Because we have also seen opposition coming from some states, for example, Tamil Nadu, which is against NEET completely. So what can be done? What is going to be your piece of advice in a situation like this so that, again, next year, we don't see these doctors, these COVID warriors out on the streets protesting?
I mean, to some extent, Dr. Jayalal has already elaborated on specifics that need to be done. So I think the second thing is that whenever we talk about reforms and making reforms, the reforms also bring in an uncertainty. So the existing processes are put on hold, or somehow they are put on hold or get on hold, and they are waiting for things to happen. So I think many years we saw that, okay, that elected body of the medical regulation, the Medical Commission of India, now that was, the Medical Council of India, and then this appointed body, that the National Medical Commission of India. So, and then the issues of the reservations and a number of other things that came in. I think we need to be more systematic. We need to work on expanding the capacity to reduce the pressure on the medical education. The system need to work. Another idea that I gave was that maybe why can't they consider that rather than having only one Neet-PG exam or one Neet-UG examination once a year just before examination, why can it not happen twice a year or thrice a year as per the convenience of the students? And the score could be valid for certain number of years on the basis of which admissions could be done. I think if they want, they can do it. And I think there is a need for these things to happen as soon as it happens so that these uncertainties and the risk factor could be avoided. Medical profession is already a very stressful profession. The medical education itself is a very long time-consuming education. And I think the training in India generally is very, very rigorous. But I think at least the least that we can do is that make the processes so transparent and so friendly so that people could find it easier to appear and qualify and to prepare and to ready themselves. I think that is needed to sustain the motivation of the people who want to pursue medical education. We are indeed short of doctors. We need more doctors. And I think one of the arguments that was given for not postponing is that if we postpone, we shall have a shortage of teachers, doctors for this year. I think that's a very, very important issue. Sometimes the official statistics say that we already have met the numbers of doctors per thousand of patients or per but I think there are many who counter this. So we have serious shortages of teacher. One last thing that I will say that one single common entrance examination for a nation of our diversity and 1.3 billion population is not necessarily a good idea. And I think that needs to be revisited. Also, there are that the doctors need to be also familiar with the languages in the areas where they are serving. So from that point of view, also it is important that some kind of decentralization or going back what we were practicing earlier, particularly when the MCI...
Very important points you've raised, Mr. Furqan Qamar and Dr. Jaylal. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate both of you for joining us here on Mirror Now this evening and helping us understand what can be done as far as the NEET issue is concerned. But for now, exams will happen as planned on 21st of May, unless, of course, Centre decides to listen to the students who are asking that exams should get postponed for some time. Thank you, both of you, for joining us.